If he wasn't scared, where would be the incentive, the ambition, the drive to be the best, to push himself, to diet, to suffer, to do all that cardio? He needs to be scared. Coach Greg, and in today's video, Chris Bumstead is scared. And no, I'm not referring to his recent engagement with Courtney King, of which he had stated it was the most nervous and happiest 30 seconds of his entire life. What I'm referring to is the Mr. Olympia competition is fast approaching, under 10 weeks to go. And Chris Bumstead is behind. He recently met up with Irv Skalevsky, the Miracle Bear, guy competed with in Germany 3 years ago. This guy's the most improved classic physique competitor in the entire IFBB. Have you seen the guy lately? 10 weeks out, the guy has strided glutes and cross striations that most competitors would dream to have on stage. That's right, guy is literally leaner than many of his competitors right now with 10 weeks to go. And so throughout this workout, Chris Bumstead remained fully clothed. Did not want to reveal what his physique actually looked like, which is far behind where Urs is right now. His latest post, 10 weeks is not a lot of time, but that doesn't mean a lot of work can't be done. And so Chris knows he has a lot of work. And in the past, Chris has crash dieted. Remember last year, his diet? He cut it down to 1,800 calories a day. Remember, Chris is over 6'1", 250 pounds. Guy's eating 1,800 calories a day. That's a diet of a bikini competitor. And why did he do this? Because he's behind. He crashed diets towards the end of the competition in order to truly appear shredded on stage. But does that mean that Irvs is the smarter competitor? That Irvs knows better than Chris Bumstead? No. Not all competitors can maintain, add muscle at 5 to 6% body fat, even with the use of performance-enhancing drugs. And so I do believe that Irv, the Miracle Bear, is one of those rare specimens with the genetics to allow him to build muscle while maintaining an excessively lean body fat percentage. And what about his other competitors? Terrence Ruffin, we seen him last year. Month out from the competition, you're thinking, how is this guy going to show up in shape? Looks way out of shape, as if he's in his full-blown off-season. Yet he arrives on stage shredded. And so no two competitors' diets exactly alike. People eat, train, do cardio totally different ways. Some do fasted cardio. Some do no cardio. Some do cardio twice a day. Others hardly any cardio. Some 2 hours every single day. But if you want my personal opinion, I think that Urs is slightly too lean for this far out. There's no need to be 5% body fat 10 weeks out. But for his body, he knows it best. Perhaps he has plenty of energy, gets great pumps in the gym. He's simply not affected by having extremely low body fat levels. For me, when I drop below 8% body fat, I have no energy, regardless of if I'm on performance-enhancing drugs or not. And so in my off season, I need a minimum of 8% body fat or more in order to maintain and add muscle. Irvs, on the other hand, 5 or 6%, no problem. I can build muscle this lean. And if you're completely natural, for most people, somewhere around 15% is likely going to be optimal, with some people being as low as 10, others as high as perhaps 20%. But in the end, this is not Chris's first rodeo. He's competed a number of times and he's demonstrated that he knows what it takes to win. And one thing I often notice in Chris's training is that he doesn't feel very confident in himself in the off season. Consider this, he has arguably the best physique in the entire world. And so his standards, they're way at the top. And so in his off season, when his body fat is slightly higher, perhaps he has less muscle, he just doesn't feel as good. He often refers to himself as being a skinny bitch.
Skinny bitch.
He compares himself to the best of the best, the cream of the crop. And remember, you should only be comparing yourself to you. But as a competitor, he wants to win. He wants to come out on top. And so there's an extreme amount of pressure. When you're the 3-time Mr. Olympia champion and everyone says you're a shoo-in to win, even winning isn't enough. He not only has to win, he has to dominate. If he wins by a bit, makes it close, perhaps Irvs or Terrence comes in just a slight bit behind him in second place, people are saying, what happened, Chris? Why didn't you win by so much? And so, of course, he's scared. He's scared to live up to unrealistic, impossible standards. People already talking about him breaking the record, perhaps winning 9 or 10 Mr. Olympia titles. And I'm one of those guilty ones. I personally think that Chris could set the all-time record, win year after year, well into his 30s. And so remember this. Although I joke around and say Chris is a black natural athlete, it's not true. He's actually white and he's not natural. He admittedly takes performance-enhancing drugs. And he's had health problems in the past. He's been admitted to the hospital. He has an autoimmune disease. And so imagine abusing PDs, which is required to win at the Mr. Olympia level, and then not feeling comfortable to take off his shirt. And to have to cover up your body, of which you worked so hard for, that everyone wishes they could look like, and simply cover it up. Imagine looking like Chris, going to the gym and hiding it from everyone else. And so remember this, no matter how good you look, even if you look as good as Chris, not everyone actually loves the way they look. What people see when they look in the mirror are not their strengths. They see their flaws, their weaknesses. Chris doesn't see that incredibly small waist, all that muscle, the shreds. He sees a guy that could use a bigger back, bigger arms. Chris is a professional bodybuilder, makes a living by competing against other people. He has to look better than them in order to win. And so it makes sense that he's scared. If he wasn't scared, where would be the incentive, the ambition, the drive to be the best, to push himself, to diet, to suffer, to do all that cardio? He needs to be scared. Being scared is what gives him motivation and will push him through those dark days when he doesn't want to train, when he wants to just lay in bed to give up. When you're working your way to the top, you are extremely motivated. You'll do anything to get there. But once you're at the top, it's a lot harder to stay there. You have so many people climbing up to get you. And so Chris has to feel scared. He has several other younger up-and-comers reaching out to get him. And so although Chris is scared, I do believe he should be. And I do believe that will help him to once again come on top and earn and secure himself with a 4th time Mr. Olympia title. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. Let me know in the comment section, does anyone not see Chris winning again this year? If you don't, who do you have on top? Is it Irvs, Dino? Who's going to win? Perhaps Terrence? And unless Chris comes in off, which I don't think he'll do, I fully expect him to once again dominate at this year's Mr. Olympia. Looking for harder than last time supplements, including the Seco bar? You can eat that, 220 calories, 20 grams of protein, 15 grams of fiber. Also, creatine, protein powders, pre-workouts, stem, non-stem, hardcore pre-workouts, G-Test, G-Focus, 3-Test, ashwagandha, Ali's favorite, Tom Catalee. So many I can't name them all. Also, the cookbooks, the training books, the Circle Diet Book. Click the link in the description. Use code Greg, 10% off. Subscribe, click the bell button, comment for the algorithm. Please watch at least one of those bloops, one of the videos. You know what they are. Watch one right now. And until next time, I am out.